Have you ever had the feeling that you're standing still financially, even though you're doing everything you can to improve your situation? What's interesting is that in the US and Europe, many people are quietly getting richer every single day without realizing it. A recent study found that more than 60% of adults underestimate their financial progress because they focus only on their bank balance rather than their full net worth. That means millions of people are actually moving in the right direction, yet they feel anxious as if they're falling behind. The truth is, becoming wealthier rarely comes with loud signals or dramatic breakthroughs. More often, it happens quietly and gradually, through small changes you barely notice day to day, unaware that those very changes are reshaping your financial future in a far more positive way than you imagine. In this video, I want to help you see something that most people in the US and Europe rarely notice. Wealth usually begins with small, subtle, yet extremely important shifts. It doesn't arrive as a huge bonus or a dramatic career breakthrough. Instead, it shows up as quiet signals that reflect maturity in your financial thinking and spending behavior. Once you understand these 6 core signs, you'll be able to assess your true financial position accurately rather than relying on vague feelings or unnecessary anxiety. I will break this video into 6 clear sections, each focusing on one key factor that helps you recognize your own financial progress. Every sign will be explained using real data and practical examples, and each one will come with a concrete action you can take to strengthen that momentum. By the end, you'll have a completely different perspective on your financial journey and may realize that you're much further ahead than you think. One of the biggest paradoxes in personal finance in the US and Europe is that many people are making real financial progress while feeling like they're falling behind. Rising living costs, unaffordable housing, and economic uncertainty make it easy to believe you're stuck, even when your personal financial metrics have actually improved. According to data from the Federal Reserve, the median net worth of American households has increased by more than 30% over the past decade, largely driven by consistent saving, investing, and debt reduction. In Europe, Eurostat reports a similar trend, with household net worth continuing to grow even during periods of significant economic volatility. Yet most people don't feel this progress because they focus on what's immediately visible, such as their bank account balance, monthly income, or short-term spending power. Social context amplifies this feeling even further. Social media constantly showcases young, wealthy individuals who seem to achieve financial success early, making it easy to feel late, inadequate, or behind. But real wealth works very differently. It's not about sudden income spikes or acquiring large assets overnight. It's about gradual shifts in behavior, mindset, and financial control over time. In most cases, wealth doesn't arrive as an event, it unfolds as a process. Research in behavioral finance consistently shows that people tend to underestimate their own financial progress because the human brain naturally focuses on problems rather than achievements. This means you may be in a much better position than you realize simply because you're not looking at the right signals. Once you learn how to recognize these subtle indicators, your entire perspective on personal finance can change, and you may discover that you're moving towards stability and even wealth faster than you think. One of the clearest signs that you're getting richer without realizing it is that your net worth is steadily increasing year after year, even if your income hasn't changed. Many people believe that wealth requires a 6-figure salary or an exceptionally stable job, but the reality is far simpler. Wealth isn't just about how much you earn, it's about how effectively your money works for you. When your net worth grows, slowly or quickly, it means you've started accumulating assets instead of relying solely on income. This growth is often so quiet that you barely notice it. The problem is that most people don't track their net worth seriously. They look at their paycheck and bank balance and conclude they're going nowhere. But net worth gives you a far more complete picture. In the US, a Bankrate study found that people who track their net worth at least quarterly are twice as likely to reach their financial goals compared to those who don't. Across Europe, household finance reports show that wealth accumulation often comes not from higher income, but from reducing debt and increasing investments. You may go 2 years without a raise, but if your debt declines and you invest consistently, your net worth can still rise. A common real-life example is people who invest monthly into index funds. They may not feel richer because their bank account doesn't grow, but their investment portfolio increases every day, even when they're not paying attention. A friend of mine in Berlin once felt he wasn't making any progress at all until he reviewed his balance sheet after 3 years and realized his portfolio had grown by over 40% simply from consistent monthly investing that he considered insignificant. To recognize this sign in your own life, start tracking your net worth seriously. Record your assets, investments, emergency fund balances, and liabilities. Do this monthly or quarterly, and you'll see something you may have missed before. You are moving forward. When your net worth line goes up, no matter how slowly, it's one of the strongest signs that you're truly getting wealthier. Another powerful sign that you're getting richer without noticing is a steady decline in your debt utilization over time. This is one of the strongest indicators of financial maturity because it reflects both spending control and reduced dependence on credit to maintain your lifestyle. As your debt usage falls, financial pressure eases, and you create a more stable foundation for long-term wealth growth. Debt utilization is especially important in Western financial systems, particularly in the US and Europe, where credit cards and consumer loans are widely used. According to Experian, individuals with the highest credit scores typically keep credit utilization below 30%, while those with excellent scores often stay under 10%. This isn't because they earn more money, but because they manage debt better. When you no longer rely on credit cards to get through the month, or when your balances shrink despite unchanged income, your financial health is improving. I once heard a story from a woman in Copenhagen who felt like a financial failure because she couldn't save much money. When she reviewed her finances over 2 years, she realized her credit card debt had dropped by nearly half, even though her salary stayed the same. She never saw that as progress until a financial advisor explained that reducing debt is one of the most critical foundations of long-term wealth. From that point forward, her net worth began rising every month. To build on this sign, track your debt utilization monthly and aim to reduce it gradually. Focus on paying off high-interest debt first and avoid using credit as a substitute for income. As debt becomes more manageable, your financial life feels lighter, and you may realize you're becoming wealthier in ways you never noticed before. A quiet but incredibly powerful sign that you're getting richer is your ability to save 20 to 30% of your income each month without feeling deprived or stressed. This isn't just an impressive financial number, it reflects strong control, discipline, and stability in your money habits. When you can consistently set aside a meaningful portion of your income, you've broken free from the consumer cycle that traps many people in the US and Europe, where even high earners live paycheck to paycheck. According to a Fidelity study, individuals who save at least 20% of their income reach financial goals 3 times faster than those who save under 10%. Interestingly, most people who save 20 to 30% don't feel like they're getting rich. They think they're just getting by or that the amount isn't large enough to matter. Financially, the opposite is true. A man in Amsterdam once shared that he always felt behind his peers until he realized he had been consistently saving nearly 25% of his income for 2 years. That habit alone caused his net worth to rise far faster than he expected. To strengthen this sign, be intentional about your savings. Automate transfers into savings or investment accounts as soon as you get paid to remove spending temptations. Adjust your savings rate across life stages based on income, expenses, and goals. When you can save 20 to 30% of your income comfortably, it's more than a good habit. It's clear evidence of sustainable wealth building. A subtle yet critical sign that you're getting richer is that emotional spending no longer controls you. For many people, impulsive spending is hard to identify because it's often justified as self-reward, stress relief, or fear of missing out on deals. But when you can walk past a favorite store without feeling the urge to buy or leave items in an online cart for days without pressure, your emotional control around money has matured significantly. CNBC reports that over 64% of Americans admit to regrettable impulse purchases driven largely by emotion. The same behavior is common across Europe, where retail therapy is widespread. Financially stable individuals behave differently. They no longer seek short-term satisfaction from purchases, they value long-term peace of mind instead. I once knew someone in Dublin who used to buy every new tech gadget on release. Over time, he shifted to buying only what he truly needed. When he reviewed his finances, unnecessary spending had dropped sharply while his investment accounts grew steadily. To reinforce this sign, practice delaying non-essential purchases by at least 24 hours. Ask yourself whether you truly need the item or if it simply satisfies a temporary emotion. The less emotion drives your spending, the more resources you have to invest, save, and build lasting financial stability. Another key sign that you're getting richer is your ability to say no to unnecessary spending that once felt hard to resist. This isn't frugality or self-deprivation, it's financial maturity. When you can easily decline expensive social plans or attractive but low-value purchases, you shift from instant gratification to value-based decision-making. This shift is essential to real wealth building, as it reflects clarity between what you want most and what you want now. A Deloitte survey found that nearly 58% of consumers in the US and Europe regularly buy things they don't need due to habit or social pressure. Financially healthier individuals demonstrate the opposite behavior. They evaluate, decline, and move on without guilt. I once met a man in Stockholm who used to spend heavily on weekend trips because friends invited him. After facing financial stress, he learned to make decisions aligned with his long-term goals. By declining low-value activities, he reduced expenses and increased monthly investments, accelerating his wealth growth. To turn this ability into a long-term strategy, clarify your true priorities. Ask whether each expense moves you closer to your financial goals or only provides temporary satisfaction. Consistency makes better decisions easier, and when declining unnecessary spending becomes automatic, you know you're on the right path. One of the strongest signs that you're getting richer without realizing it is that your assets begin to grow even when you're not doing anything extra. This is the essence of passive growth, a foundational concept in Western financial thinking. When your investments, retirement accounts, or asset portfolio rise steadily due to compounding or market growth, you've entered a stage many people aspire to but never reach. Having your money work for you. Passive growth doesn't require large sums or expert knowledge. It often starts with small, consistent actions like contributing to a 400 wonks in the US or investing in ETFs in Europe. Vanguard reports that investors who automate monthly investing achieve 32% higher asset growth than those who trade emotionally. Income level matters less than consistency and long-term discipline. I recall a woman in Toronto who thought her $200 monthly investment was meaningless. 10 years later, it had nearly tripled without additional effort. To leverage passive growth, review your portfolio and focus on long-term growth assets such as low-cost index funds. Automate your investments and remove emotion from the process. When your assets grow while you sleep, it's not just wealth, it's proof you've built a smart, sustainable financial system. Looking back at these 6 signs, one truth becomes clear. Wealth isn't a moment, it's a quiet process. It doesn't arrive suddenly or announce itself through bank balances. It develops through small shifts in habits, reactions, and daily decisions. These changes happen slowly enough to be overlooked, but powerfully enough to create massive long-term results. To truly understand their impact, we must look deeper into the psychology behind them. These aren't isolated actions, but outcomes of an internal transformation. When your mindset changes, your money decisions follow. And that mindset shift is the true foundation of lasting wealth. What makes these 6 signs powerful isn't the actions themselves, but the psychological transformation behind them. Behavioral finance shows that sustainable financial progress rarely comes from earning more. It comes from changing how you react to money. People judge success through visible cues like salary or bank balances, yet real wealth grows through less obvious skills: delayed gratification, emotional control, habit formation, and long-term discipline. Many people feel stuck because progress isn't immediately visible. That's the nature of financial growth. Like compound interest, the most important changes occur during periods that feel uneventful. Reducing debt, increasing savings, investing consistently, and controlling spending behaviors build a foundation that one day becomes unmistakable. Psychology also highlights negativity bias, our tendency to focus more on failure than success. This makes you feel behind even when your financial metrics improve. Social comparison worsens this effect, but finance isn't a race. It's a long journey where consistency, not speed, wins. Once you understand this, the 6 signs stop being mere indicators and become evidence that your financial mindset is maturing. And when your mindset changes, your assets follow. Before concluding, it's worth reflecting on the journey covered in this video. These 6 signs are not loud milestones. They show up quietly in habits, decisions, and the level of control you're building over your financial future. A steadily rising net worth, declining debt usage, saving up to 1/3 of your income comfortably, emotional neutrality towards spending, the ability to reject low-value expenses, and assets growing independently are all clear indicators of progress. These changes may feel small moment to moment, but together they form the foundation of stability and wealth you're building every day. The single most important lesson is that wealth never arrives suddenly. It's built through small, repeated changes sustained long enough to create big results. Wealth isn't just about how much you earn, but how much you keep and how effectively it grows. When you change your mindset and regain control over emotional decisions, you're laying the groundwork for a stronger financial future. You don't need a dramatic sign to validate your progress. The quiet momentum itself proves you're on the right path. If this video helped you realize you're further along than you thought, I'd love to hear your perspective. Leave a comment sharing which of these signs surprised you the most or made you recognize something you hadn't noticed before. If you found this helpful, consider sharing it with someone questioning their financial direction. Sometimes a new perspective makes all the difference. And if you'd like to explore how small, steady actions build real wealth, the next video will take you even deeper. I'm glad to be part of your journey. Thank you for staying until the end of this video. That alone shows you genuinely care about your financial future, and that's already a bigger step than you think. I hope these 6 signs gave you a new way to see your journey, one that may feel quiet but isn't stagnant at all. If you recognize progress you hadn't seen before, then this video has done its job. I look forward to seeing you in future videos as we continue building stronger financial understanding and a more secure path toward financial freedom. See you soon.